And to everyone. The one source back of all that exists comes from that one thing that is always happening in all space and time. No beginning, no end, infinite. Infinite intelligence, infinite love, infinite beauty, infinite joy and connection. And so remembering that this is the truth. I know that this is the truth for each one here, each one everywhere, and for myself. That this infinite nature of the one life that created all is available to me, and I have access to it, and I can use its power, its wisdom, its guidance. I get to enjoy its beauty. I get to live in its love. And I get to recreate and co-create with this one source and this one power my life every single day. And so as I speak this word for myself, I invite each one to know the truth for themselves. I am whole, perfect, and complete. I'm a holy expression of the divine. And I know that this day is blessed. The blessings are just showered upon me and upon all. And especially in this holy space, as we celebrate the one life, as we celebrate truth, the truth of being, that we are one with our Creator, we are whole, we are perfect, we are complete. Nothing missing, nothing lacking, everything is right here, right now. And so I just remind myself that speaking this word, speaking this prayer is the way for me to stay in alignment with that truth. And so I claim power right here and right now in this spoken word for each and every one. That truth, that ineffable truth. We are whole. We are holy. We are expressions of the divine. Each one an emanation, unique and individual. And so I give thanks for this knowing of this truth, and I give thanks for the alignment that I feel right now, and I give thanks for the way that this prayer manifests in form. And so I release it now into the word, knowing I simply allow for it to unfold in the perfect way. And so it is.
Filled with appreciation for you. In all you think and say and do, your tender heart shines through. All your talents combined make you one of a kind. No one does it quite like you. I see you, I celebrate you, I love you. I see you, I celebrate you, I love you. say and do. Your tender heart shines through. All your talents combined make you one of a kind. No one does it quite like you. I see you, I celebrate you, I love you. I see you, I celebrate you, I love you. I see you, I celebrate you, I love you.
Thank you, Nathan. Yeah. So as you know, this is the year of living out loud. And our theme for the month of December is embracing our wholeness. But embracing our wholeness extends not only from ourselves, but also out to everybody else. And last week I talked about recognizing our own wholeness, accepting that we are whole, complete, and perfect. Not perfect as in somebody else's idea of perfection. We're perfect in our uniqueness, perfect as we were created to be. And I was just thinking a moment ago about the movie The Matrix, that when Neo encounters Mr. Smith, or whatever his name is, in the movie, the fellow tells him the reason that life is the way it is in the hypnotic realm that everybody's plugged into is because originally they had created it to be perfect without any conflict, perfect. No difficulty, no challenges, just lovely, blissful harmony everywhere. And people didn't survive. They didn't like it. So they had to create something that created challenges and conflict. And I was thinking about that, like, Ram Dass saying, it's beautiful, it stinks. There's nothing to do it. That what we are here for as human beings is perfect, exactly as it is, because we came here to learn and grow. And if everything were perfectly harmonious and there were no need to change anything or learn anything, it would be boring, I think. So we're here for a particular purpose, and life presents itself with all of the opportunities for that. It just now occurs to me, maybe one of the reasons that it seems like challenges sometimes seem to be increasing might be because our capacity is stretching and we need to deal with bigger challenges rather than smaller ones. I mean, that's a Pollyanna-ish way to look at it, but hey, it works for me, what the heck. So December is about embracing our wholeness, and today I want to talk a little bit about recognizing wholeness in others. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and light the candles for the Advent wreath and for Hanukkah. Now, one of the things I realize is that I actually started Advent a week earlier than the rest of the world. And I did that because some weeks, some years, I have forgotten the first week altogether and started it late, and I wanted to make sure I didn't do that this year. So I counted the Sundays up to, Christmas, but I didn't think of Christmas Eve as one of the Sundays of Advent. I thought of it as Christmas. So I counted that as Christmas, and the 4 Sundays before that is Advent. You with me here on my thinking? Okay. So we are the only ones in the world who are on the 3rd Sunday of Advent, but we're doing this for them as well as for us. We have an Advent wreath, which is a circle always. So the wreath is a circle. It represents that infinity, no beginning and no end, presence of God. And the greenery is that ever-present newness, vibrancy, life, that it's never too late to unfold in a greater way than we have up until that moment. The first candle that we lit a few weeks ago is the candle of hope. That's the candle of preparation, getting ready for the coming of the blessing of the divine presence. And then I talked about that as the candle of the prophets who were prophesying something to hope for as we look toward greater things in our own lives that we hope for. Then last week, I dedicated as the candle of faith that the Magi came from the east because they saw a star. Who would travel that far just because of a star? That they had faith that something needed to be seen there. And the shepherds came because of the angels. This is how the stories go. And they came because a bunch of disembodied spirits that they heard singing in the heavens said, go here. Now, maybe they were just scared, but I took it as faith. So we did that one for faith. Now, the third Sunday of Advent, the candle is a different color. It's usually a pink or a rose color in some traditions, not in all of them, because this is the Sunday of joy, the Sunday of rejoicing. We look upon this as a pause in the kind of, looking within and letting go of old stuff that we're in the midst of doing in preparation for Christmas. This Sunday is the Sunday of rejoicing. So we look at this kind of as the Sunday of Mary, the Sunday that she rejoices in the coming of the baby. That's one way of looking at it. So that's where we are right now. Now it's also Hanukkah. And each night of Hanukkah at sunset, the candles are lit once again and an additional candle is added. So you know the story. The Hanukkah is a remembrance of a miracle that happened after the temple had been desecrated. When the Israelites came back from exile, they had to rededicate this temple. And part of what they needed was the sacred oil burning at the temple. But they only had enough for one day, and it was going to take 8 days to make more of this sacred oil. And they decided to go ahead and light it anyway as a part of their rededication, and it burned for the whole 8 days. So until they could get more. So the lighting of the menorah, which just means, candle holder basically, candelabra, basically becomes a remembrance of that event. Now, the central candle, the one that's taller than all the rest, it's actually called a shamus, which means assistant or helper, and that's its role. So this candle is present just to light the others, and they're always lit from right to left, which isn't true for me looking at you, but it is true for you looking at me. So tonight is the fourth night of Hanukkah, and so we're lighting the candle for tonight as well. And these have to burn. They have to burn throughout the evening. So every night during Hanukkah, the candles are lit. Tomorrow night, another one will be added next to the central candle, and so on. And these are the blessings that are said on the second night through the 8th night of Hanukkah. So I'm going to say this in English because I don't know the Hebrew for it. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has sanctified us with your commandments and commanded us to kindle the Hanukkah light. And so we might say, metaphysically, for the first blessing, we're filled with awe and gratitude for the Creator of all that is, who blesses us with the creative law and moves us with this holy light to remember our blessings. And the second blessing is, blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who performed miracles for our forefathers in those days at this time. Metaphysically, we might say, we are filled with awe and gratitude for the Creator of all that is, for the many ways our ancestors were protected and blessed so that we are here today. So this is our recognition of these two traditions at this time of year. Oh, and I forgot to show you the wonderful one I have for the lighting of the menorah. So here they light themselves for us automatically, which I love. So this is our recognition. And then, of course, around us we have, all of the trappings of Christmas holidays, and we have a million Santa Clauses over here from the Frost family this morning, which you've got to come and take a look at because every one of them has a unique, beautiful face. But today, my message is recognizing the wholeness in others. Now, this is an easy thing to do with people who are very dear to us. I mean, even if we have a falling out with them sometimes, we hold them in our hearts and we will forgive them or make space for them. But for people that are very different from us, a different species even, we may just not be able to understand them and their ways and their preferences and their behavior. We may not approve of it. We may not like it. So it's more difficult for us to make space for them in our hearts, and even sometimes with the ones we love. After some last-minute Christmas shopping with her grandchildren, this gal was rushing them into the car when her 4-year-old grandson, Jason, said, "Grandma, Susie has something in her pocket." And he reached into Susie's pocket and pulled out a new red beret. Now, although she was tired, Grandma knew that it was important for Susie to put the item back where she found it in the store, and so they did that. And then later on, at the grocery store checkout, the clerk asked, "Have you kids been good so Santa will come?" And Jason said, "I've been very good, but my sister just robbed a store." We can't always forgive those closest to us. Sometimes we get ourselves into trouble, sometimes we get them into trouble. Here's the thing about recognizing wholeness in other people. Usually the people around us in some fashion will mirror back to us parts of ourselves, and not always parts we want to look at more closely. So we may prefer not to be judged ourselves, but still feel compelled to judge somebody else. And as somebody wise once said, we tend to evaluate our interior and other people's exterior. So we're looking at them, assuming things about how they must think and behave and feel because of their behavior, when we can't see inside of them, so we don't really know what's going on in there. Now, even with ourselves, where we see our outsides and we know our insides to whatever degree we do, we don't completely understand ourselves, but we make space for ourselves to some degree. We let ourselves off the hook, I hope, to some degree, and are self-forgiving. We're not necessarily able to do that with people that we are uncomfortable with, disagree with, dislike, or vehemently are opposed to what they seem to believe and stand for. Everybody with me here so far? What we want to do today is consider how we might look on everyone a little bit differently. So there are some caveats to this. When we want to recognize the divine presence in everyone, that does not mean that we tolerate bad behavior or make ourselves into doormats or think, I need to give this person the benefit of the doubt and hang in there with them because they are a divine expression of God, even though their behavior is deplorable and it's hurting me and everybody around me. That's not what I'm saying, okay? You can recognize the divine in someone and still have boundaries, still hold them accountable for their behavior. It doesn't mean that anything goes, okay? So Joel Goldsmith wrote in The Gift of Love, everyone is the Holy One of Israel. Every saint and every devil is that Holy One. Every healthy person, every diseased person, every pure person, every sinning person is the Holy One of Israel, God incarnate, although temporarily acting out the part of the prodigal son. To enrich our own life, we must learn to give recognition to the true identity of those we meet. And that means even seeing imperfections and negativity, to allow ourselves to ignore that on one level, to know the truth is in there, even when we can't see it, even when we know that they don't even believe it or have awareness of it. Some years ago, Amanda and I were in Peru. In Cusco, there are the Inca walls. The Inca walls are made of stone that come from someplace not near Cusco, and most of them are huge and very heavy, but they are not uniform in size and shape. In fact, many of them are, like this, and somehow have managed to be fitted to stones around them that match, like this little tiny one that was the size of Amanda's fingernail that is tucked into this one spot. Now we look at this wall. Is this wall imperfect? Well, let me tell you, when the Spaniards came, they built walls to surround and cover up these pagan Inca walls. Now, Cusco is on a fault line, and so there are earthquakes in Peru. And at one point, there was a major earthquake, and all the Spanish walls fell down, but the Inca walls did not. And the people said, the Inca have returned. And I said, they never left. So this is then not imperfect to me so much as it is amazing. An amazing work of engineering, of intelligence, of patience, of thoughtfulness, quite a beautiful expression of an acceptance of wholeness in the face of something that doesn't seem to fit. So it's perfectly designed for the space it fits into or around in the wall. And so are we. Perfectly designed in order to be in the place and time that we're in with the challenges that are around us in order to grapple with them. I don't know that the universe, the infinite, and our souls require that we grapple with them well, or even that we come to the right conclusion. I'm not sure if that's actually the point. Maybe the point is the grappling itself and what it brings forth in us and what we discover in the process of that grappling. So our flaws are included. They have purpose. Even if we don't like them very much, that kind of becomes irrelevant to the process that we're in here. Is everybody with me here so far? Does this make a certain amount of sense? Okay. In the book of Deuteronomy, it says this, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. And then it says, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Tie them as symbols on your hands. Bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the door frames of your houses and on your gates. In other words, have this in the forefront of your awareness and intention, that your first priority is to love God with all your soul and strength. That's really the point. And then Jesus took that a little bit further. Somebody asked him once, well, what's the greatest commandment? He said, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. That's all we're really here for, not to get the right answer, not to belong to the right club or party or university or whatever, have the right car. None of that. So what we do in the world is important in so much as it is an expression of that love of God and love of each other. That's it, really. I think that's what we're here for, and that's the whole assignment. But, it gets very complex, the ways in which we do that, and it's easy to get lost and wander away. One of our ministers said to me once, the endless parade of Sundays, he said, how many different ways can you say God is all there is? Because really, we never say anything else, not really. That's always what we're trying to say. And so the point is to more and more have that in mind so that we don't forget it, even when we hate what we're looking at, because it seems so painful, so difficult, so not in alignment with us. Does this make sense, what I'm saying? In the Dhammapada, the teachings of the Buddha, it says, live in joy, in love, even among those who hate. Live in joy, in health, even among the afflicted. Live in joy, in peace, even among the troubled. Look within, be still. Free from fear and attachment, know the sweet joy of the way. In other words, that presence of wholeness is always there, even in the most distressing situations and appearances. It's always there. And what is helpful, I think, for us is to trust that's true even when there's no evidence for it in the moment, even when we feel alone or in conflict or as a minority or as vilified by someone or by everyone. I love to see we're all different, but we're all still just birds. Birds are birds. It's like dogs. Did you ever see a little miniature Chihuahua? These little dogs? They're very small. Have you ever seen a Harlequin Great Dane? The thing is this tall, just standing on all four legs. If it stands on its hind legs, God help you. It's like 7 feet tall. They're the same species. Well, just think about this. Human beings generally don't look that different as those do. Although when Amanda stands next to my son, you might wonder. But still, because Luke is, 6'6", and Amanda is 5'2" or something. So, yeah, Great Dane Chihuahua. But even so, sorry, Amanda, even so, when we think many, many years back, maybe to when you were a kid, there was a time when, maybe not in our lifetimes, but there was a time when members of Congress were friends with each other, no matter which party they were in, and they would argue over, over the policy, excuse me, or the point, or the legislation, and then go out and have dinner and drinks together as friends. Excuse me, turn me down for a second. Excuse me. Just pausing momentarily. Think about what I said. So, recognizing wholeness is not about agreeing. It's not about matching our preferences and values. What we want to be able to do, I think, is question ideas, question opinions, but still hold the value of the person. Another thing I was thinking about this morning, as I was sitting backstage centering, was Anne Frank who said, in spite of everything, I still believe that people are basically good at heart. How in the world could she say that? But I think there was wisdom in that child's perhaps naive, we might say, view, that there's truth in that. That people, all people, even the worst people, are still basically good at heart, even if they don't know it anymore, even if they are not capable of showing it. Now, that doesn't mean that we have to be friends with them or that we have to move in with them or any of that. Just that there is a way of recalibrating our attitudes toward people, our way of talking about them. Can we disagree vehemently with a position or an idea and not completely put that person out of our hearts? They may be right around the edges of it, but still, we want to respect people. And we all have different reasons for what we value and what we believe. I think of the story of the two groups of women who came together who were pro-life and pro-choice. And they began to talk about why they were in that particular category. They did not change each other's minds, but they became friends. They began to celebrate birthdays. They began to celebrate births of babies and baptisms and marriages and graduations together. In fact, when one group was being particularly persecuted by people in town, the women from the other group stood up for them, even though they did not agree with their position. Those were their friends. And that is something that is time to rediscover, I think. It's time to begin to re-evaluate, to reseed in ourselves and in the world, so that the different values and perspectives that somebody else holds are not personal attacks on us. They are challenging the beliefs and opinions that we hold. And if we refuse to take it personally and respond not by vilifying them, but by addressing what they're saying and what their opinion is and what they're talking about versus what we're talking about, respectfully, what an amazing shift that would be. We still wouldn't agree. We don't have to agree. Sometimes the vigorous conversation is where the holy reveals itself. So, this is a photograph of a gathering of clergy from all different faiths. Now, I do notice there are only 3 women. This was probably taken a while ago, or who knows what group it was, but they're all different faiths. When an interfaith clergy group comes together, we recognize that we don't all agree on things that have to do with values or God or how the universe works or what the origins of it all are. But there is space for the other person's beliefs. You know, Thomas Merton, who was a Trappist monk, practiced Buddhism also. So it's interesting to see how those things can come about when there is an assumption of the person's spiritual essence being the same as yours, even though the beliefs may be different, of honoring our own boundaries, for sure, but at the same time, disagreeing, but kindly. If we want to experience respect, we give respect first. We're modeling a particular behavior. Kindness and respect generate those back, eventually, when we persist with them. Whereas responding in kind, if somebody's attacking, generally will only escalate the situation. Ernest Holmes, our founder, wrote this in The Science of Mind. Love is the grandest healing and drawing power on earth. It is the very reason for our being. And that explains why it is that people should have something or someone to love. The life that has not loved has not lived. It is still dead. Love is the sole impulse for creation. And the one who does not have love as the greatest incentive in life has never developed the real creative instinct. No one can swing out into the universal without love, for the whole universe is based upon it. And then he says, for selfish reasons alone, if from no loftier reason, we cannot afford to find fault, to hate, or even to hold in mind anything against any living soul. That's huge. That's a huge aspiration to put in front of us, not to hold anything against any living soul. Wow, that's big. That's a lifetime's worth of attention, of practice. And yet, interestingly to me, it's never too late to do that. It's never too late to have a different perspective on someone else or on yourself or on the universe or on the world or on a particular community or neighborhood or group, to begin to bring love to what is the most difficult to understand, and just at a distance, even if necessary, bring kindness and respect toward the people, not necessarily the behavior, not necessarily the thinking. Those are two different kinds of things. So I want to tell you this little story. And I'll wrap up with this. So we're holding goodwill toward others in our hearts, and that has sometimes a rebound effect on us too. An entrepreneur who started his business from scratch had accumulated great wealth, but due to an economic recession, his business suffered just a disastrous decline and left him very heavily in debt. He was so heavily in debt, he couldn't see a way out. He couldn't figure out how he was ever going to survive it. And he'd been upset about it for days. And failing to see how he could recover from these losses, he decided he was going to take his own life by swimming out into the sea until it was impossible for him to swim back. And so when he came to the seashore in the quiet of night, he noticed a girl nearby sitting on a log who was crying. And he went over to her and said, "Why are you out here alone in the middle of the night?" And she said, "I was just dumped by my boyfriend. I don't want to live anymore. I can't survive without him." And the businessman kindly asked her, "How did you survive before you had a boyfriend?" And at that moment, the young woman came to her senses and understood that her life was not over. And she decided not to commit suicide. At the same moment, the entrepreneur, hearing himself say that, thought, "I never had much money in the past. How did I survive? I'm still managing to live normally even now." And just then the girl turned the tables on him and said, "You're right, it is the middle of the night. Why are you out here?" And the man shook his head and laughed for a moment. And then he said, "No reason really. Since I couldn't fall asleep, I guess I just came out to take a walk." We never know what a kindness given might return to us, or in what way, or how soon, or from whom. Nevertheless, kindness is never wasted, even if it appears that the person it's given to is unable to receive it or even to recognize it. And so in this season, the season of light, in the midst of the greatest darkness of the year, here in the Northern Hemisphere anyway, in this season of light, we, each one of us, is like a candle walking around. As we come together with other people, we can increase the availability of the light around us with just a little kindness. So as you love each other, as you love strangers, as you love other people around you, since that's what we're really here for, see if you can just bring a little bit of light into your interactions, and let that be the one thing in the forefront of your mind as you recognize the wholeness in others. Namaste. Now, let's turn within and just anchor this in prayer. So in this moment, we just breathe in the divine presence. In the air, we hear it in the sound of the heater. We feel it in the atmosphere and the breath of people all around us. We are busy exchanging molecules as we breathe, and all of it is part of the one presence, omnipresent in expression. It is everywhere, all around and within us. In fact, there is no place that it isn't being omnipresent, and so all we can be is that presence. Nothing separate, no exceptions. Knowing this truth, we then logically recognize that the vast love of God lives in us, for us, and through us. We cannot help it. It's what we're made from. So when we are in alignment with ourselves, we are expressing, experiencing, living as that love. But even when we're not, it's always there. I claim for each one of us this morning that opening in consciousness that reminds us of who we are and why we're here. So that love is the primary reason for our being, for our meeting, for our conversations, for our sharing, for our giving and receiving. Love is what we are here to learn, to experience, to give, to become. And we are already that, whole, complete, and perfect, just as we are. And what is true of us is true of everyone. So with gratitude for this awareness and the working of the law in and through us that helps us to remember and act on this, we are so deeply grateful for ourselves and for each other. And we let this prayer go into the creative law of mind and spirit, where it is drawn forth into form and experience and being. We let it go and we let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Please stand and join me in this morning's affirmation. What's true of me is true of everyone who ever lived or ever will live. Humans are coded to reach for wholeness. I embrace everyone I see through my acceptance of this truth about them, especially when they aren't seeing it in themselves. And so it is. Thank you. You may be seated. I would like to invite our ushers up. This is our sacred giving time. If you're online and you would like to donate to Golden Gate, you can always text an offering to the number on the screen behind me here. And for those in the room, all the information about donations is on the back side of your bulletin in the lower left corner. But if you are new here, if you're here for the very first time, I want you to know that your presence here is your gift. Now, for all of us who are giving or have given during this past week to Golden Gate, we want to especially bless those gifts People give in various ways here. Sometimes they give once a year, sometimes they give once a month or once a quarter, sometimes they give every week. We want to bless the giving. And so, as if it is being given at this very moment, I invite you to hold your hand over your heart. If you're giving a gift this morning, hold it over your heart. If you're giving it with a loved one, you can hold it in your hands together as we say in one voice, "This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time." And so it is.
May I be loved, may I be held and celebrated, may my gifts be seen as sacred, may I live my fullest expression, may I live my fullest expression. May you be loved, may you be held and celebrated, may your gifts be seen as sacred, may you live your fullest expression, may you live your fullest expression. May we be loved, may we be held and celebrated, may our gifts be seen as sacred, may we live our fullest expression, may we live our fullest expression. 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 May we live our fullest expression.
Hello, am I on? Can you hear me? Yes, okay. So we together, on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, we do all accept this offering. And we bless it and send it out into the world to seed the vision of friendship and kindness and respect everywhere it goes. And so it is. All right, so if you are here with us for the very first time this morning, I want to draw your attention to the table back here in front of the big Christmas tree where Galen is standing. There are welcome packets back there and other handouts that you're welcome to take with you. But in the welcome packet, there's a blue card about this size. And if you fill that out and give it to Galen this morning, she's going to give you a gift. That's a little book. It's called Nourishing Thoughts, and it's just simple, small thoughts for all different kinds of situations in life that you can carry around with you so that when you forget and you're feeling frustrated and upset, you can pull it out of your purse or your pocket and just open it to one of those topics and help recenter yourself. And that is our thank you to you for being here, and also our invitation to you to come back and be with us in the future. And for those of you online, if this is your first time watching us online, send me an email to revmary, REVMARY, at ggcsl.org, and we'll mail you one of these little books as a thank you for joining us online, and we hope that you will also come back often. I also want to thank everybody who has been involved in setting up this morning. So we want to thank the Corte Madera Community Center, first of all, for all the frou-frou that's everywhere. You know, we love that. And for everybody that's been in service this morning. You know, our guys have been out in the kitchen cooking for the brunch. I'm going to tell you about that in just a moment. And everybody's been working around the art show. And so I just want to acknowledge everyone this morning for their contributions, our setup team. Today, oh no, not there yet. We have reestablished our meetup. And it's one way that we can plan for things because we can see how many people are coming. So it's easy to set up a free account on Meetup, then look for Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. And we have our own thing on Meetup. And all of the activities that we've got going on wind up on that Meetup page. So once you're in Meetup, you can go to any of those and just click attend. So we know that you're coming, and that would be hugely helpful, whether it's Sunday morning or whatever it might be. So we really encourage you to do that and invite other people to check us out as well. Also, today is the men's brunch, and we always love it when the guys do this, and today it is a Mediterranean feast. And it's only $10. Immediately after the service, the guys are going to bring it out, and the tables will be set up out here for us to eat. And you can pay your $10, that's all it is, and you'll get, you know, hummus and dolmas and stuffed grape leaves, that's dolmas, and falafel, and, you know, yeah. So it's going to be just wonderful. Be sure you stay and get a chance to enjoy that. The proceeds after expenses come to Golden Gate, and we're very grateful for that. Also, at our new office on Irwin Street, we are having an open house this Friday, the 15th, from 11 to 3. You can come anytime during that period. And between 11 and 3, we'll have coffee and cookies, and we can show you our space. It won't take a long time to see it, but you'll get to see it, and you'll see where we are, and you'll get to enjoy that. So it's at 851 Irwin Street. We're upstairs on the second floor. There is an elevator. There's plenty of parking under the freeway, and it's also near the SMART train and the bus stops. So it's very easy to get there. Drop in and see us on Friday. The Women's Drumming Circle is doing a special solstice drumming and chanting event with special guest Jane Henriksen. And that's happening on December 20th, which is a Wednesday, from 7 to 8:30. You don't have to be a drummer to go. Sometimes there are extra drums, or you can just sit and enjoy it. If you have questions about the drumming and chanting, talk to Lori Greer, our morning practitioner, because she knows about it. She has been involved in the past. And you can pre-register at this link. Take a picture of it if you want to, and it's probably also in your morning bulletin. Also, want to remind you, I know I've been saying this a lot, but I want to make sure everybody hears it and remembers that on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, which are both Sundays, we will not be here. We will still have services, but they will be at the Best Western Corte Madera Inn on Madera Boulevard. We've had services there before. This building is closed, but they're available, and we're going to be over there those 2 Sundays. So just make sure that you put that down someplace so you remember. And also, we know we're coming up on year end, and sometimes people need to be doing charitable donations at year end. So if you're one of those, or you just want to, we would be thrilled, delighted, and grateful to receive any year-end distributions you want to make. And also, we are still open, very much open to, inviting your annual giving intentions. So if you haven't stated a giving intention for 2024, which will also apply to 2025, there are forms at the back table for that, and you can fill one out, put it in an envelope, and give it to Galen or to me, and we'll make sure that gets to the right location for recording, so you'll have your tax deductions. Also want to remind you, prayer is always available for you following the service. You go to the prayer table and talk to one of the practitioners who's available there on Sunday for prayer. You can also put in a written prayer request into the box if you prefer to do that. And there are other ways as well, but those are the 2 Sunday ones. So now I'm going to invite the practitioners to surround the room, and we're going to bless you with a brief chamber of prayer so the guys don't have us talking forever when they're trying to get the food out. So practitioners, this is laser, but we're going to do it as one, not in unison, but at the same time. So just let this atmosphere of prayer wash over you and receive it. And so it is. Please stand and join me for the closing blessing and song. This we also say in unison. I now walk, so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted. And whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness, for Spirit and all people and I are one eternally. And so it is.
Thanks very much, everyone, for being here this morning. I'd like to take us out with an up-tempo version of a song we sang together last January. Daniel Nahmod's Higher Place, Up, Up, Up. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. No more forward, no more backward, no more spinning around and around. My life is moving ever upward. My feet are leaving the ground. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. No more downward, no more darkness, no more wandering the point of it all. My life is destined, oh, for greatness. My soul has answered the call. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. A higher place, a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place.